I'm Rich Pohlman. I'm the Executive Director from Thurgood Marshall Academy Public Charter School in Ward 8, and I'm one of many school leaders who do not support this bill as proposed, but have attended many working groups, and also would like to commend you and your team for listening during those working groups and making changes and adjustments, and again would echo the sentiments of the work that's been done till now, which has brought the bill into a place that is much better than where it started. So thank you for that work. And I want to just highlight that my comments today and my concerns sort of still persist around three major areas. One is safety in general. The other is ensuring fairness in that discipline process. And then overall outcomes for students in the district. And obviously these are all contextualized through my lens of being a high school leader in the District of Columbia, and also a high school leader of a school where our mission is to prepare students for college and success in our society, and that we have shown a lot of gains in that area, right? We're been a Tier 1 school every year that the PCSB is awarded that, and more than 80% of our students enroll in college within 1 year of graduating from TMA. And so while we are meeting our mission in many ways, we also know we have room to grow, and I'll talk a little bit about both those today. As a school leader, I see that my primary responsibility is to ensure a safe and productive learning environment for all students, and a safe environment for staff too. The work that I do requires balancing the many interests of all of those individuals, the 400 students and the 70+ staff, and sometimes that includes tough decisions. The balance, I believe, that you all experience too as legislators. But I believe that this legislation, is trying to balance what's right for students, and I'm worried that it doesn't reflect the desires of many families to have a safe and orderly school environment where their students can actually succeed. In speaking to families, I routinely hear that they want a safe environment. This has been extremely true this year after losing 2 students to gun violence in our streets. And has sort of been an underlying piece of everything we've done this year since losing 2 kids. Parents want and deserve to know that their students are safe, and I'm not talking about walking through metal detectors, but really safe, from threats and bullying and harassment, pushing and shoving, behaviors that often escalate to physical conflicts, but may not result in serious bodily injury. And while some researchers have come to agreement about the effectiveness of suspension on creating that safe environment, parents, consumers, school leaders like myself, and others believe it's also an important part of our toolbox for creating that safe place. Again, it's balance. Obviously, our work has to include resources like social workers, mental health clinicians, bringing people together to discuss an incident and repairing harm. But in order to do that work, in order to prepare for those conferences, the aggressors and victims need time apart to process. We need time to prepare for the intense work that sometimes it is to repair that harm. Suspension's a tool we use to give ourselves and our students the space necessary for the reflection so that healing and restorative work can take place. We agree that suspension should be reserved for the most egregious violations of disciplinary policy, and transparency is necessary. We believe in these tools, properly implemented, could further reduce suspensions in our schools. At TMA, we're proud of our restorative justice efforts to drive down suspension rates. We actually had 0 out-of-school suspensions in the month of November, which is a big task for us and a big celebration of results. And we've partnered with Youth Justice Incorporated to begin a peer court this year, which I think really contributed to driving those down. However, I can't say what's working for us at TMA would work in other schools, and I think that it's important to highlight that giving schools the autonomy and the resources to develop and innovate is really an important part that should be incorporated in the bill and other work that you've been doing.
That clock's for both of you.
I know. As a school leader, I also want to stress that I'm very concerned with ensuring fairness in our discipline process. I believe in publishing a transparent process, having an appeals right, having impartial hearing, and I would really support legislation that would further outline those due process elements that are in common law but are not yet codified in DC law. Lastly, I want to talk about student outcomes in our city. We're failing too many students academically, and recent reports have brought these failures into a different light. I understand there's a great deal of research about the impacts of suspension. We also can't ignore the volumes of research linking school culture and academic outcomes. We must balance both. I'll stop there and just say, hold us accountable, but let us innovate too. And I hope you find ways to do that.